A very hard life and a very happy life. That is how I think of Tim McCarthy, whom all of us who met him considered a good, happy, and a very wise human being. Tim was just 7 years old when his father died. His father himself was just 34 years old. An Irish miner who came to the US worked in a copper mine because he was poor. And like many other miners, he developed a form of TB since they breathe in this metal dust. Tim told me, "Father, I was just 7 years old. I felt so weak, frightened, and even bitter. How was I going to look after my mom, my younger brother, and my granny?" My granny was paralyzed in her legs and she had sores in her feet. She suffered much but never complained. What got me over my bitterness and helped me to believe in life again was actually my granny, an amazing woman. She would pray aloud and I would listen to her prayers. During examinations, she would pray for students. During harvests, she prayed for farmers. When the weather was bad, she would think of travelers and pray for them. Though she was in pain, I never heard her pray for herself. It is this that got me over my own bitterness. I started out on life. I went to work, found work. I was able to look after my mother, my granny, and my younger brother. Tim went on not just to work, he became a very capable man, in fact head of a union, and also someone interested in reading poetry. He married, he had children of his own. Tim's wife died years before I met him. All those who knew this couple said he looked after her so lovingly in her last sickness. For Tim, that was just the most natural thing to do. After all, she was my wife, wasn't she? He would say. This good man, who was then already in his late 80s, would reach out and help anyone quietly. There was an old parishioner called Margaret Gallen, who was in the final stages of cancer and becoming more and more dependent. She lived alone. Tim told her, "Margaret, anytime you need help, any time of the day or night, just give me a call, I will be there." And he was there. Anytime she would call, Tim would rush there, an older man himself in his late 80s, to do for her any little service that she needed. What was the secret of Tim's happiness? I learned this in a little conversation with his son. So his son wanted to buy Tim a gift for his birthday. I think the 88th birthday or something like that. Then he told me, "Father, what do you buy for a man who has everything?" Tim laughed as usual, and we all knew that he didn't have much. He had very little. In fact, he drove one of the oldest cars in the parish. But Tim said, "Father, I've been a very happy man because I learned early in life to distinguish between what I want and what I need. There is no limit to what I want. There is really very little that I need." He said, "That's why I am a very happy man." Very early in life, Tim learned to distinguish between the many things we want and we run after and the very little that we really need. That kept him a happy and contented man. Maybe that's a lesson we all can learn from Tim McCarthy, the good, wise, and a very happy man.